So John, yeah, I saw the movie, and I'm thinking, oh, there must be a mix of like real animals but nothing we see is real.
Everything the light touches is digital.
There's
Actually,
not even light.
There's not even light. There is one real photography shot in there. Just we want to throw it in just as a gimmick to see if people could figure out which the real shot is. But no, every environment, every blade of grass, every animal is completely hand animated and digitally rendered. And all of it's in keyframe, by the way. It's not motion capture or anything. These are artists who are using the same techniques that were used in Bambi, essentially, except with new tools.
Is this a game changer as far as film is concerned?
I think it is. I think virtual production, one of the big breakthroughs here that I believe we're the first film to ever do, was to take all the animation, take all the environments, and since they're already digital assets that you're building for visual effects anyway, we imported that into a consumer-grade VR gaming system. And so we created a multiplayer virtual reality filmmaking game where the whole crew could pop on headsets, and instead of just looking at it on a computer screen, we could walk around the set as though we were really there, see the lions acting out the scenes, and set cameras within that. And we had a whole film crew that was operating cameras in a volume that were driving the digital cameras in VR.
So this is one of, if not the most beloved, not just animated movies, but movies. Did any of you have any trepidation about taking this on?
You're looking at me? I for sure did.
Yeah.
I for sure did. I know we talked about it a lot because it's big shoes to fill with the original film.
Yeah, it was, but it seemed like, you know, it seemed like there was a strong, you know, leader who was, you know, had a vision that we were all really enthusiastic about, and it seemed like, you know, there were ways to kind of bring the movie to a new generation of people with kind of, you know, updating certain messages and again, visuals and the music. And I think, you know, it feels like a gift. It's just like, how could you be mad at people for just bringing this to the world? That's what I would say.
It was really exciting. You know, I think that after all the beginning trepidation of it, it's just diving in and being excited about it and it being so fun and such an amazing story.
Plus, we're all the type of people that are put me in, coach.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were all game for it, and I think it was interesting because you know, there's certain areas where you had to stay very true to the original, and there's certain areas where you wanted to depart and bring something fresh and new to it. And it was interesting because the comedic moments are the moments where 25 years later there's opportunity to have a new take on the comedy. But so there was a lot of improvisation and a lot of writing, and we did a lot of sessions together, both live, like in a theater type environment where we recorded voices, but also doing rewrites, looking at cuts. I mean, these two back here are filmmakers, storytellers, writers, beyond just being actors, and we plugged all of that in along with Donald. With the role of Scar, that's a tricky role too, because it's so connected in most people's minds to Jeremy Irons and what was in the original, and that's a role where it's changing slightly, but the character's basically the same and the plot points are the same. And so to have Chiwetel was phenomenal because he could bring not just his voice, but an interpretation to the role that felt more dimensional, more like a live action film, which is really what we're trying to do. And so it was much more nuanced and there was a lot of subtext, whereas in the old one, it's 2D and it's much more presentational, I think plays a lot younger. Right. But if I didn't have the right cast in all of the roles, and Sarabi was a role where we were going to expand much further on what was there. Our film is almost a half hour longer than the original. And there was some clues in the stage performance, and there was some clues in Hamlet, actually. We borrowed a lot of the plot points from that about the relationship between Scar and Sarabi and Simba's mom.
At one point I said to my wife, I didn't know they dated. Well, hello.
But that's what breathes life into it and justifies why make this movie at all. We have to bring something fresh and new to it while still delivering on the expectations. It's like if you see a revival of a show you grew up on Broadway watching with a whole new cast. But here we also get to expand upon the story as well.
You know, Chiwetel, was there a certain resonance for you? I mean, here you are, you know, a native African, and you get to, of Nigerian descent, I should say, and you get to play this character that heretofore had been played by a Brit, a white British guy. But yet now you're bringing your heritage to this role.
Yeah, I mean, one of the great things about The Lion King is, of course, it's set on the continent, and it's a part of the African story as well. And so, trying to bring an element of that and a kind of the voice of that, or the dimension of that, or a dynamic of that, is of course really meaningful for me. I'm so excited always to talk about stories and to be involved in stories that reference and detail parts of the continent. Always. And this is a major opportunity to continue to do that. And I think there are so many opportunities to carry on in that vein. So much richness and storytelling to be done that's part of that. So very, very excited about that part of it.
And Alfre, for you, 20 years ago, you're at the premiere of the original Lion King, and now with your kids, and now here you are playing mom. But there's an even greater connection with your son and your character.
There is. Yes, we have seen every incarnation of the story. We've been present, and I have pictures of my husband holding him. He passed out at the party the first time he went. I mean, because he was sleepy at the party.
I was going to say, that's a hard party to get.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
27.
Yeah.
Okay, but Duncan, he went off when he was 22 with some chums for a trip to Amsterdam. It was one of those kind of trips. And so he sent a picture of himself lying on a gurney in a tattoo parlor. So I went, okay, here we go. There'll be a naked lady. He flexes and she twerks. And then he sent us a picture. It was Rafiki's cave drawing of young Simba. And it said, remember who you are. And I just went, oh, that's my son. And then a week later, you guys called me to
Really?
be, yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
I heard about the tattoo.
Yeah, exactly.
I saw it on Instagram. I said, who's that?
Whose kid is that?
Guys, so the role of Timon and Pumbaa, are, I mean, they're kind of the comic relief, but they're also a real big part of this movie. Did you guys play off each other so well? Did you record your stuff together?
Yep.
Because
We
a lot
did.
of times people don't do that in these kind of films.
Yeah,
They very rarely do that.
Very rarely, yeah. But I can't imagine now having done it any other way, because we recorded virtually everything together, and we were improvising with each other as if we were in a comedy sketch.
Yeah.
And I think you can feel that in the movie.
Yeah, and there is a lot of immediacy to it, and I think a lot of the stuff that we do in the movie was not done 100 times. It was done once or twice, and John found it painstakingly and applied a lot of technological wizardry to it.
It's like an archaeologist.
Yeah, exactly.
You had to extract.
Oh yeah, but I love that. I mean, I love that, and I love anything that makes something this technical feel that breezy and effortless. And I knew for those roles that either you're going to get the laugh or you're not going to get the laugh. There's no way I could say to them afterwards, "You did a great job." The other time I saw it, they were laughing. You were over their head here. So, and I was at we saw the movie with an audience for the first time at the premiere a few nights ago, and for me, my favorite moment was when the laughs started rolling in on their characters, because first of all, I knew that the movie was. You get feedback about the movie in general, because with comedy, I get how to read the room. With the more emotional stuff, it's hard to really get a sense. The room just gets quiet. Yeah. But when they came on and broke, they really come in a time when they break the tension. There's a lot of emotion before they come out, and it's a big relief. And they were hitting all the jokes. And I remember how hard they all worked, and they kept coming back and working on it. And the fact that they were able to make this version of it, of these characters that the audience accepted and liked and was laughing at, it made me very proud and very happy.
Billy, I know you know Nathan Lane, and you talked to him before you did this.
I did, yeah. He was one of the first people I emailed when I got the part, when John offered me the part, because I wanted his blessing and I wanted to let him know. And I basically said to him, I've worshipped you since I was a kid, which is true even before The Lion King. I saw him on Broadway when I was a kid and loved him. And I said, I can't do what you did. I'm going to try to make it my own. It's impossible to walk in your footsteps. I'm going to do the best that I can. And he was lovely and very supportive. And he said, "What are you going to do next? Remake The Birdcage with Ryan Gosling?" Which is actually not a bad idea.
Pretty good.
I was going to say, hey.
If he passes, I'm in. Or I should say, when he passes.
It is impossible to top what they did. All we could do is our own version of it. And being able to do it with Seth and John and use improv as opposed to a more Broadway-inspired tone really helped us.
So, Seth, how do you channel a gassy warthog?
Easier than I would like to admit. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like, it's more like a puppy dog almost. Like, I think, like, one of the funny things about the character is how, like, ugly he kind of is in some conventional ways, but how, like, lovable and adorable he is in other ways. And the physicality, like, of him, just how he kind of trots around, like, he starts to look more like a little piglet than a warthog very quickly, I think, yeah.
For you guys, what was it like singing Hakuna Matata? I mean, this is probably one of the most iconic movie songs ever.
Yeah.
How was that for you?
I mean,
It was fun.
it was fun. I think you kind of had to go in the studio and forget about the original version. I mean,
Yeah.
it's always going to be in the back of your mind somewhere, and you want to nod to it in certain ways because you don't want to disappoint people who are expecting certain parts of it, but you have to make it your own. Otherwise, there's no point in doing it.
Yeah.
And we just relied on each other. And again, we were all together in the same room. Me, Seth, John, Donald Glover, Hans Zimmer, and we all relied on each other and worked together as a team.
Yeah, and it's like a song the characters in the film love to sing. And so you have to convey that, and you have to not have any reservations about it, and you really have to like portray people who it's their favorite thing in the world is to sing this song, and so that very quickly made it that like you really couldn't worry that much.
The fourth wall is so paper thin.
Exactly. Yeah.
It was like wet tissue paper.
See through it. Yeah.
Chiwetel, for Scar, the role is very Shakespearean.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely. How and played somewhat understated. How did you find that balance?
Well, I think that there's a lot of different Shakespeares in the whole Lion King, So it's sort of finding and isolating which one you're going to kind of go for. Obviously, there's a lot of Hamlet, but there's also quite a lot of Macbeth in Scar. And that idea of being focused on power and status, and those kind of obsessional qualities. So you look at the different kind of influences, I guess. People mentioned as well Iago, and that kind of, and I think there is an element of that sort of underhanded, cunning, conniving tension. But I think his obsessions are more internalized. They're more personalized. They're more about that idea of status. And so working with that, which is always fascinating, and because it affects all of us, and because we can all relate to that, and so we can empathize. We don't quite go as far as to sympathize, but we can empathize with Scar. We can sort of understand him, and that's what I think makes him so psychologically rich and just lovely to play.
Alfre, as Sarabi, how much of your inner lioness did you channel, for this role?
I think you naturally tap into your momminess, your mommyhood, and I think most people know that your mom licks your fur and cleans you and all, but if any danger, any risk comes in, mom takes it right out. So she's just poised, and you get surprised when you see your mom go there when you're in danger. But the reality is the reason that the family, the community, the pride is safe, is fed, is protected, is nurtured, is enlightened is because of those lionesses lying about in wait with their power everywhere in the world, and that it has been that way. It is that way in the animal kingdom, and John very smartly brought that forward. People have asked, like, oh, is it because of women are now, is that why now coming forward or demanding certain things? Is that why Favreau did? I said, no, it's because he's smart and he's telling a true story. And so he brought that element in, and I think it's so exciting that all of the female characters in this are very disparate, Shinzi is being true to her hyena nature to the highest degree. And so we're not at a point where we say like, oh, the women are strong or the women are demure. The women are female, which is even more possibility, I think. And this isn't a put down than male possibility. I mean, we have to have more shades because there's more people under our shade.
Here's a bonus that I would have never thought of when you have Jon Favreau directing. You also get somebody who cooks for you.
You do?
Oh, I was told there was cooking.
There was a lot of, there were times when they were there. There was a lot of food on the set, in general. But usually, since most of this was virtual production, the actors were there a small percentage of the time. But when we were actually filming, with the crew, because we were there day in, day out, there were wheels of Parmesan being rolled in and cracked open, and we all share a love of food and cooking, and it becomes a big family when you're working for 3 years together. Yeah. And part of the ride was when they were there, and when they were there, it didn't look technical at all. It looked like a theater rehearsal. I swept all the tech away and let them just walk around with microphones, scripts in hands. It was like a blocking rehearsal for a theater performance. So I really wanted to make it as human as possible in that regard, and I've gotten to know everybody really well, and hopefully, everybody's proud of their work and how it came out, because there's a lot of trust in this process because they put everything out there and they really trust that you're going to curate it and cull it down in a way that's respectful and of the performance.
You raised this point about pride. What are each of you most proud of about this movie?
I mean, I just think it really captures the spirit of the original film, but takes it into a totally different place, and just this kind of really rich, beautiful space that I think is, just sort of multi-generational and so exciting. And I think that these stories can absorb retelling because they're so sort of iconic and so sort of narratively rich. And I just think it's a wonderful opportunity to bring that to another generation to explore it again.
Billy?
A few things, but when I saw it with an audience for the first time at the premiere, I thought, wow, it's such a mesmerizing movie and a great escape from the world. Even though it has great messages about the current state of affairs in a certain way, it's just so beautiful. And it really is a great escape. And also, on a personal level, I think Seth and I, with John's help, were able to turn these iconic characters into something new that works, and the fact that the audience was laughing as much as they were, I'm happy about that.
Yeah, same thing. Like, I'm as proud of it comedically as anything, and I really, and that honestly was not something I was 100% expecting going in necessarily, because I thought maybe, it's like going to be more geared at children or something like that, and it will maybe like reduce the level of humor. And then when I saw it, I was honestly blown away. I emailed Billy and John right away. I was just like, it's funny in like a truly.
You almost sound surprised.
Yeah, I mean, in a way that I, again, would put up against any comedy I've ever performed. And truthfully, the fact that Disney and John would even have me in this movie is something I'm very proud of. Like, the fact that I haven't, alienated myself from this budget level is just a thrilling thing. So yeah, I'm just, and I've known John a really long time, and so it's nice to get to work with him in a more meaningful way. Yeah.
I wouldn't call it pride so much as I'm grateful and I'm excited that when I was watching it, every time I went to record, I just wanted to stay longer. I wanted to be, because you're around people that were in the back of the room when the teacher said, stop drawing, stop, what are you doing? They throw their little scribbles away. Well, they're in those rooms doing what they have always been called to do. So it's a happy environment. So, but then when I watched the movie, I was just grinning, I was happy, I was smiling. I got scared when Scar meets his destiny. I was sad, and my husband turned and went, really? Really? But I love the fact that everywhere in the world that is so thirsty for a long drink of water like this, that people will be smiling, people will be reflecting. Everywhere needs some truths they can hold on to, and everybody needs to remember what is important and what makes them smile, and it delivers that.
I agree about the pride versus gratitude thing. I'm definitely proud of what we've accomplished together, but more grateful because it's been a long process. It's like 3 years, and on the surface of it, it's this very clean, nice thing that feels hopefully effortless. But it's like opening up the back of a watch when you see how many people had to work together, artists, musicians, composers, actors, writers, and then it also connects with the audience that's a part of that too, from the original, that there's a debt of responsibility to the filmmakers, who I was very proud they were there at the premiere from the original film, and Disney. This is such a complicated thing, and I'm only on a film. The bigger the movie, the smaller a part I am of it, and so I'm very grateful that all those pieces all work together, and everybody really did some of their best work, and I think inspired by the fact that they knew how important this title was to so many people, and so very grateful that all of it clicked together, and the clock runs, and the little chime goes off, and it's a minor thing, and maybe it's just one experience in 2 hours in a family's life, but for us it's been many years working on it, and that it's being well received is something I feel very grateful for.
One last thing, I know a lot of people have been asking, in the cast photo, the great James Earl Jones is not there, and people were wondering why. Is all well? Or?
He's I haven't talked to him since we had worked together, but he's in the East Coast. He's up there in years, and I think that I was very grateful that he participated. I had never met him before, and so when we recorded him as Mufasa, and this is going back a couple of years, there he was, the voice a little bit more of a deeper timbre to it than you remember, but we had the old recordings and this, and I think for this it worked even better because he's bringing all that to it. And of course, in my mind, I'm thinking Darth Vader and everything else I've grown up with. But my understanding, again, I haven't spoken to him, is that he's doing well. This isn't something where this takes a lot of energy to do, and just his involvement in all is something I'm very grateful for.
James and I are feuding.
Don't talk about it, Bill.
And I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is.
Could you have even imagined anybody else as Mufasa?
Just the whole taking on this gig at all, when it first was announced I was involved, I knew that first announcement was going to, with as much attention as people were paying to this project, that first casting announcement was going to be very important. And for me, that announcing James Earl Jones and Donald Glover together as Mufasa and Simba, to me, it was a microcosm of the whole experience. Because here's James Earl Jones, iconic, irreplaceable, I think probably if you made a list of people that you know just from their voice is probably #1 on the list, and what he has represented throughout his whole career, not just Mufasa. He's played so many different characters, and each of them with power, dignity, sometimes villains, sometimes heroes, but always complex. And then you have Donald Glover, who 3 years ago, now not so much of a secret because he's really, it's emerged, since he's played Lando Calrissian, Atlanta, This Is America, but when I first was engaging with him, I knew him from his improv background, Childish Gambino, and also as a writer, as a staff writer on 30 Rock. He was a guy who also had this really interesting, eclectic resume and tremendous talent. And by announcing the two of them together, it told the audience we are going to respect the traditions of the past, and we're also going to look to do something new, but with quality. And I think people got it immediately, and the internet could be a very conflicted place, but I remember a resounding sense of approval from everyone saying, this might actually turn out okay, which is all you could hope for in the beginning.
And it has.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.